Welcome to Watch Out For AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out For AGI. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Watch Out For AGI podcast, the podcast that will inspire you to create B2B AI SaaS. We come to you every week with news and ideas. We test what needs to be tested. We give you our opinions. We bring on AI entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, all sorts of AI people on our pod. And today we're going to run a casual, regular checkup on what's happening in AI today. I have Emrick, my co-host, who is here to give us the freshest news today. Emrick, how's it going?
Yeah, I don't know how fresh it is, but I would say there's always a lot of things happening in AI. And this week also, we have a lot of bunch of stuff too.
Yes, last week we published our first interview with a solopreneur, Matt, one of my favorite episodes, and I'm not lying. I listened to it. I was on my bike earlier today, and there was a moment when I was talking about prompting factories. I started to crack up. I was like, that's just such a silly thing to say. But yeah, we had a really cool conversation, and I really want to bring more solopreneurs like that onto our show. I have two more in the pipeline that we are planning to talk to who are building successful businesses. One of them runs an AI app studio that builds apps for iOS, and I have another one who is more in the ad space who would be willing to join us. We will also focus on news because news is our most wanted feature of our podcast. How did you like our conversation last time, Emrick?
Yeah, the cool thing talking with him was that we had a different view of what we usually think, because we are both software engineers in big companies, and we can sometimes be biased toward our companies, toward the technologies that we use. And it's really nice to have his opinion and how he's using AI in its own business. And he's just thinking things differently from us. So really looking forward having more guests and having more opinions, because it's actually opening our minds too.
So before we get into news, I do like to ask you a bit about sentiment and about what you're using, what products you're into. So, let's go down the checklist. Cursor. You're still using Cursor. How is it going? Have you changed the model that you use? Have you changed any flows? How is it going?
Because I'm still using it. I do have to say, last time we talked about it, that I was using a bunch of markdowns. The markdowns were used essentially to help the model to keep the context. And I still use Cursor. I still like it. I would just have to say that recently, I don't know if you felt it as well, Remy, but the context seems like the context is going down. I don't know if Cursor is voluntarily nerfing it, but like if I just give to the model, let's say a doc for a new tool, really fast, the model will going to forget about even the beginning of the doc he has read. And I don't know if it's just me that is asking more to Cursor, or it's just because the context has been nerfed. Did you felt something like this?
So I have felt something like this when I've been coding. It forgets what you initially asked it. I'm getting that. It's very annoying. I think I sent to you something recently. I was like, I've hit the ceiling with Claude. I feel like I'm not progressing, I'm regressing. And it's not wowing me as much as it was at some point. So I don't know what they're cooking with Cursor. I know that these models, they stay the same when they come out. So I think this is a Cursor issue. For me, Cursor has been less smart. One thing that I do want to point out here. You remember when I was doing that yes, sir thing? When I would say yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah. I remember in your system prompt or Cursor rules.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, that didn't watch our cursor demo, I do something called the yes sir test, where you put yes sir in the cursor rules or in the general rules of cursor, and I say, if you understand me, if you have read the cursor rules, just say yes sir before you start. So it just says yes sir, and then it goes into the flow. That doesn't work anymore. What is going on? It's being nerfed. I don't know what's happening. I don't get it with Claude, but if I do it with GPT 4.1, I get my yes sir. So I don't know what's happening here. What do you think is going on? Do you think that there's like a prompt that is blowing away my yes sir test?
Yeah, it's hard to say honestly because they do a lot of their things in a black box. If I understand correctly, Cursor has like this shadow workspace where they do their modification without you seeing it, and they're probably experimenting all the time on what is better. So I actually really don't know. And I guess here you're just the victim of like the context window being passed. So the model is just removing what is not useful, and your yes sir is maybe not useful. I actually don't know, yeah. And it's probably changing every day at that point.
In terms of UI outside of Cursor, are you using any new tools, any new products? Have you seen anything that you have tested? I do have one. Let me get into it. I'm using Manus. Remember when we presented Manus? That was
Yeah,
about
I do, yeah.
2 months ago. Manus is we called it the deep seek moment of AI agents. Is it a deep seek moment? I don't know. You know
It
what?
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't.
It's no, it's a useful tool. I can tell you one thing though. One thing that makes me not want to use this tool at all. I stopped using it. The cost, man. The cost. What the hell? Like, you run one command and you're good. You're done for the month. You can come back next month, do another one. And then you're like, okay, fine. Like, you got me. Let me buy one of your plans. You know, you would think maybe I can do 1, 2, or 3 concurrent tasks per day, right? Dude, if you do that, you'll blow the monthly credits. If you run like 3 tasks, you'll blow the monthly credits. It's like, what? How is this scalable? What are they doing? How many tokens is this stuff using?
Can you share with me because I'm not sure what you mean by task. Can you give an example of task and like how long does it run?
So for those who don't know what Manus is, Manus AI is a agent who is a general AI agent. You give it a task that you would like to do, and it gets started. It is able to use um, Google Docs. It is able to create documents, create JSON files, create all sorts of reports and things like this. And so you have you have multiple modalities, and you have the prompt box where that you put your prompt. You can interact with it, so you can start talking to it in the middle of a task, saying, no, 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 you're stupid, don't do this. Yes, actually, check this out. You can do that through the prompt box. You have the browser view that you can see what it is browsing, what it is seeing, what it is doing. You have another box, which is the documents that it has generated from it. So let's say you create a task. This is a task that I actually did it myself. I wanted to create backlinks to my website. So I asked Manus to go out there and find every single website that has a comment box where it could comment without having to prove that it's a human, without a captcha, because they fail, and to write a link, a hyperlink to my website. And I said, I don't want you to stop until you have done 5. That will give me 5 backlinks. In the streets, 5 backlinks could be worth $500,000, depending where. So it went out there. It failed. It failed for me. I mean, it's not very surprising, but it didn't work very well. And it generated a report. And it said, I was able to try with these websites, but I didn't pass the captcha test, or I needed to create an account. Theoretically speaking, you can ask Madness to create an account for you. I think that's possible, because this thing is literally a robot that you can just send out there is a soldier, you know? I just gave you a definition of a task, and it comes out with a report, and you actually have a to-do list. It creates a 7-point to-do list, and it crosses out everything that it's done. So, you know, with the backlinking thing, it would be browse websites, then it would be fill out the forms, then it would be try again, or like, I don't know. It would have like these tasks that it would need to run. That is what I call a task. So a Manus task is this entire sequence of events. That costs like crazy. I blew 1,000 credits on one task, and I think that you are given
Is
1,000
every
credits.
task worth the same amount, or it just depend on the task?
I think they have their own way of evaluating. I think I had a few tasks that were 200, and then I had a task that was 1,000. So it really depends on how long it runs, which makes sense. It makes sense. If it's a small task, you shouldn't be paying 1,000 credits. But if the thing is going on all night, because you can make these things go on all night, you close the browser, it's still running, then you need to pay. So that's the interesting part about Manus. And dude, like, fine. It's interesting. I felt like I was using Cursor, to be honest. But when you've used Cursor already, and Cursor has search capabilities, and it's able to write files, and why would I use Manus? Why is Manus so beautiful? Why is Manus worth, I don't know, 200 per month, but Cursor is only worth 20 per month? What's going on there, you know?
But the
So
problem with
that's my
Cursor is
takeaway.
the problem with Cursor is that it's like reshaping our reality, because basically they are throwing at us VC money. You know, we were using we work for not really expensive for long together, Remy, and it's a bit of the same story right now. VC are just sending money at us. So you're saying it's cheap, but just because you're swimming in VC money.
No, it's true. I really have been thinking about this recently, and I just the one day that makes me the most scared is the day that they say, "Okay, had enough of fun here, guys. You guys are all hooked. Now let's jack up the price. It's now going to cost you 5,000 per year. Sorry. Now that you have all your systems on AI, what are you going to do, Emrick?"
It's funny about this because you know, OpenAI invested 8 mil in Cursor in 2023. Bought recently Windsurf. So have shares in Cursor, but they decided to buy Windsurf. I don't know. It's a weird thing happening with Cursor. I don't know who is the CEO, but he probably wants to become the new $1 trillion company, I think.
But I don't know, man. It's they have they have the user base. We already talked about this
Yeah, they do have it. Yeah.
in the last run. They have the user base does not mean that they will continue to have that. There are also other companies that have the user base. There are people still use Sublime Text. People still use VS Code.
You asked me why I'm still using Cursor, and like, let's say they jack up the price. Knowing myself, because me, I'm the cheap of the group. You would maybe be different, but I think I would just switch to something else. I would pay $5 less and go on Windsurf.
I heard that that's a fake news because I heard that it's $5 less, but they charge you way more on the conversations. So one credit for Cursor is the entire conversation, and with Windsurf, every interaction is a credit or something like that.
Oh my god, I saw it on the plan. Oh yeah, they have something like 500 prompt credits. Ooh, I don't like what I see. Okay, I prefer being in my free VC money world.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Just to let everybody know what the real cost of things is. All right, guys, get ready. I plugged my Anthropic key into Cursor.
Okay,
Okay?
but you're also taking the fucking most expensive model.
That's the only one that makes code that doesn't like
Suck.
fail. And guys, I went crazy. Yes, I was working like crazy. I spent 100 per week. Yeah, something like that. Cursor, I'm spending probably about 50 a month right now. So we're looking at an order of magnitude of, I don't know, 4, 5 times more expensive. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably it really depends. We theorize that the cost of intelligence would go down. And I think Google is trying to make the cost of intelligence go down, but we'll see. It just depends. So it's either it will be commoditized and like the intelligence won't cost much. And like basically what Cursor does is, this agentic workflow. This will be the moat. I just cannot predict the future.
I think it also depends on availability and energy. They're really pushing on creating data centers and providing these data centers with energy. There's a new article that came out on Bloomberg where they were explaining that a lot of the data centers that they installed are in regions in the US that have water shortages. And so they're looking to install better systems for energy next to these data centers. And it's going to play on the cost. That's for sure. If you have to run a GPU that costs 2 times more to operate because the energy costs, this is like literally the energy cost 2 times more. Well, then you have to up your model. Yes, the cost of intelligence it's a static price, I think, above the cost of energy. If you bring the cost of energy down, you can bring down the prices of these models, I think. And that's what our friends, the Chinese, they did. When DeepSeek came out, for them, I think that energy is not a problem. Everybody's talking about it. They have, I think, 7 times the capacity of the US in energy or something like that.
I don't think it's the whole energy. I think it's more the renewable. In terms of renewable, they are really way better than the US. And also, every time we talk about Chinese, I'm really scared that we are falling into the Chinese propaganda. After Trump announced the tariff, I don't know if you've seen, but we were receiving 10 reels like every hour about how China is better than US. And I think we just got spammed by propaganda for a long time.
No, but the real concern is you have to have a plan B. When the vibe coding will work until you need cash to run that, and build your stuff while you have it now. It's going to cost more money. That's the takeaway. That is not going to run forever. This will die down, and we will pay heavily for this coding habits. Yeah. So
I'm
now,
just listening to what you say, and I just don't get why nobody built yet a cursor with fully local models. So I know I'm coming back with my fucking local models, but there is a Quen 32B, I think, that is right now known to be really good at local model. It's definitely not as good as Claude or anything, but you could potentially do the same with local models. Like it can actually modify your code, autocomplete, understand your code. I'm just wondering why somebody doesn't like build.
I think first of all, number one is context window, super small. I think that's a big problem. Number two is super slow. It's not optimized. It's much slower than running online. I think those two right there kind of cut the local model out of the world. But the thing is that we already looked into this, that you can also install open source local models, if you want to call them, on your own H100. That could cap out the prices. So if you have a local if you have an H100 in the cloud, that thing I think is going to cost you something like $1 or $2 an hour. You're looking at a $25 per day expense. Theoretically, you could run this locally and spend $25, unlimited credits with a Llama model or with, some Quen model. It's something that you could do. I think that would be more reasonable than running locally.
I'm just wondering if in the future we'll be able to do this. Maybe there is some kind of niche market to take.
So let's get into today's news. There's not that much that came out. I think everybody stopped shipping. What do you think? Like, there has been a global slowdown after OpenAI dropped the 4.1 models and the O3 and O4 mini models. There hasn't been much that came out. I saw some misinformation on Grok 3.5 where people just rumoring. And just to tell you guys, I asked Grok if Grok 3.5 is accurate. And it says absolutely not. And this is false. So,
No, but I think it's Elon himself that hyped 3.5. Like he's saying it will be ready next week. and every week he's saying it. So I think they have something in the pipe, but it's not ready to be released yet.
So in terms of models, not much has come out, to be honest. There are a few key moments that happened in these last 2 weeks. I can tell you guys that there is a exciting moment that happened in the coding space when we got news that Gemini 2 is a very good coding model. And the benchmarks show that it surpasses Claude. That is something to be tested. I haven't been able to test 2.5 Pro in Cursor, but this would be a cheaper and better model than Claude. What do you think,
And
Emrick?
by the way, why can't you test it? Don't you have just access to it in Cursor? They're just like putting in the drop down.
Don't have the refresh model. It has a date on it in Cursor,
It's
and the
fine
date
though.
is not the new one.
It's fine though because it's a great one already. But I have my own. I think it's shared with everyone. I think it's really good at coding, but there is one maybe issue. I'd say it depends on what is your level. But the Gemini model, even if really good and like spitting your good code, has the tendency of doing a lot of comments. Like the model want to comment whatever the line they write. So I don't know if they print something, like they will actually add a comment saying, "We will print that thing." I think it's probably related to the thinking process of the model. So why the outputs are good? It's because I think the model, sorry, is able to understand better what is happening, and the comments are helping the model. It is just that if you don't put any system prompt and you do not ask Gemini to actually not put too much comments, they will really be verbose. And that could be expensive, specifically if you don't want too much output token. Except that it's good, but really verbose model. And compared to Claude specifically, Claude has this capacity to just spit you out exactly what you want. And Gemini spit you out something that works, but really verbose.
In the latest AI models, in the last 2 weeks, there have been a few small models that came out. ServiceNow came out with an open source reasoning language model.
The fuck? Service Now? We're talking about Service Now? It's the same kind of company we worked for. Did Dassault System an AI model too?
So NVIDIA released a new model, April Nemotron
Yeah, and
15B.
it's actually done with ServiceNow, so you read it correctly actually.
It's an open source reasoning language model unveiled at ServiceNow's Knowledge 2025 conference. It offers low latency, cost-efficient performance for agentic AI workflows, excelling in benchmarks. I think that people are building for agentic flows. I think that is going to be the focus this year. Done with the reasoning craze. We were done with the basic model craze. We are now in the agentic phase. So we're going to talk about MCP servers. We're going to be talking about functions, actions that can be taken straight from a model. And so this is what I see here is that it has high performance in AI. I
So
don't know how to benchmark
you
that.
said something interesting, Remy, but you said that it's excelling in benchmarks, and while you were talking, I was looking for it. I am on lmarena.ai. I don't even find the model.
This is what I was trying to say is that these benchmarks, I don't even know where you get the benchmark for. How do you test a benchmark for agentic flow? What is that? What does it mean?
No, it's actually a good question. You have a lot of. So you know how SweBench works, right?
Yeah.
SweBench is they take GitHub issues. I'm not sure if it's a representation of GitHub issues, if it's past GitHub issues, or if it's new GitHub issues. But they take, let's say, 100 GitHub issues, and they try to find a way for the model to find solutions to make the issue fixed. And it requires you to be agentic because it requires you to try to understand the problem, try to read docs and everything. So to answer your question, to know if your agentic workflow is great, you just put it to the exact same benchmark that you would do for LLMs. There's also the humanity last exam, I think, or last benchmark. I don't remember. The same here. It's like super high, complicated question. And you need basically your LLM to be augmented with tool and MCP to actually answer the questions. So I don't think you need to benchmark specifically for agents. You can actually ask the same question that you would ask for your LLM, I think.
That's an interesting way to benchmark. I think that benchmarking will be a lot more complex and difficult to run in the future with these agents. It's all about how it's able to do a run end to end. I think less than the accuracy of a one shot prompt. Actually, I was listening to the All In podcast. It's a really cool podcast, and they did it's got Chamath on there, David Sachs, and the whole crew. And so one of the guys was talking about, this whole episode was on AI, and one was talking about how to benchmark the context window, which is, one of the most important parts of an AI model. And he was saying that there's a test that you run where you start small. You drop a PDF or you drop like a text into the prompt, and it reads it and it needs to fill out a form. Let's say that you give it an entire biography on somebody. You would have a form that you need to fill. So date of birth of the mother, date of marriage, what is the person's favorite color, right? And so you would start small and then you start to accelerate. You make the context window larger, you put more information into it, and you also add fields to the form. And there's a drop off. We know that there's a drop off, and there are some models that do better than others as they drop. They're saying that Grok is doing the best with long context windows.
Who said that?
The guy that I was listening to on the podcast said that in their company, Grok was filling the forms with higher accuracy consistently
Okay,
with
interesting.
these larger windows. That's actually a way to benchmark, which is pretty cool. I think that's a cool way to benchmark. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, because I'm always using LM Arena, and I'm not sure I'm seeing in LM Arena anything about the long context. But I've seen a lot of screenshots for the long context, and I think now all the players are at the same level. I don't know about Grok being better here, though. I would say usually I don't hear a lot of people actually using Grok in the industry. And the fact that on the All In podcast they chill Elon Musk product makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, they say that they're non-biased. That's what they say.
We are
Like
also unbiased.
I love their podcast, and I am everybody's biased, right? And so am I. Like I really like Elon Musk, but I mean, doesn't mean that that the Grok model is the best. So yeah, it needs to be tested. That's for sure.
Yeah, talking about context, have you heard about this news that Claude always includes in their prompt 24K of context?
No, that's brand new to me.
I've read
That's
this and
costly.
that's impressive, yeah, because I don't know if you try to use Claude as a free user, but if you try to use Claude as a free user, you just do 2 requests and you're out of context. Like they say to you, create a new conversation, you're out of context. And if you understand now that they put okay context at the beginning, they have to load it. It's understandable that one, it's expensive, and two, you basically just cannot do anything as a free user right now of Claude. And it comes back to what you said with the agentic workflows. I actually looked through the list of the, not the 24K, but almost. And it's basically like if the user asks about the weather, you can use a tool. You can use this tool. If the user asks about something that is that an information that won't move, like the capital of Paris, they actually give they actually give this example, like the capital of France. Don't use a tool, and it's basically a list of if else of when the model needs to use a tool or not. because they're trying to save up on the cost of using the tools or not. And what I say by tools, it's an MCP server as an example, like a function that you would call that would enhance what the model knows. So
That's funny. It sounds very unsmart.
it actually weird because Anthropic is at the forefront of the innovation, specifically in code. What you see is that for their LLM, so I think we're talking exactly about the Claude app. I'm not sure about the API here, but at least for their Claude app, they are really stupid. I mean, stupid is not the word, but they're not trying to be smart here. They would do exactly the same thing that you would do. It's the same kind of like cursor rules you have when you ask your model to say yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I don't consider myself to be a very talented AI engineer with my yes sir test, but if they're doing that at Anthropic, they should send me an email and maybe I can join their forces. In terms of other models that came out, there's a funny one. It's called Open Magic AI. It's a tool that integrates images, videos, or 3D products into real-life videos with one click and converts products into 3D models automatically. I took a look at this one earlier, and it's part of this. We'll get into this because there are a few products that came out in this last 2 weeks that do the same thing. This is a private beta. It's announced, and then you just sit and watch this video of it. And you know what, man? I think I'm going to forget about Open Magic unless something comes out. But when you use your press ticket, you know, your you get your name out there, and your product is not ready, and you're just watching some kind of like those trucks, the what's it called again, the what are those trucks called again, where they would go down the hill, they would put them at the top of the hill and they would just roll, and that would be the video of the product.
Which I don't know. I'm not sure I'm following you right now.
Nicola, it's called Nicola. Have you heard of Nicola?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. The fact that the electric truck, they was just like pushing that truck.
So they put that truck on the top of the hill, and then it just rolled down, and they used it as a video for their product. And everybody bought the stock, and a lot of people lost the money because
I see.
By the way, the guy who did this company was pardoned by Trump because he's a good guy. But he did the entrepreneur thing, and he took it way too far. And he was a public
Fake it.
company. I like fake it till you make it, but don't do it with people's money. No, but what I'm saying here about the AI models is that I'm seeing a lot of people, hey, we have the AI revolutionary model. We have the cursor browsers, and that's what we're going to get into just now. And then you go on their website and you're seeing a video of that. And okay, can I test it out? Oh, no, it's private beta. You need a code. You need to be part of the club. What club? How do we get into this? Oh, no, you just have to wait. So don't waste my time. We're in 2025. You build, you ship. You build, you ship. And if it's not ready, you shut up, because you know what? Everything that you do like this will flop. We saw it with Sora. We saw it again with, Devin. Do you remember Devin?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
These are announced and flopped projects because of the same technique. We are the pull request agent, and we will replace engineers. They said that, and then they came like a year later, and everybody's like, "Oh, where have you been? We have Cursor now." You know what I mean? It's like, who the hell are you? And Devin was super expensive. If I remember correctly, his license is like $500 a month. Why the hell would I use Devin?
I think we can break up the AI moments between the years, and you had 2023. ChatGPT goes out, and like everyone is freaking out. AGI is here, and 2024 is the year of Devin. It's the year of like big investment into companies. And Devin, I think they got like a seed of like tenth of millions. And what we saw in 2025 is that it's not exactly how it works. Like, to get a product that works, you just don't need a funding. You just need people that use your product. And that's exactly what you said. It needs to work. And I think an excellent example is Lovable. Cursor, of course, but Lovable is an excellent example. It was no names from Europe that built something, and it's actually super used right now. Like they actually have a ton of revenue, and it's growing like crazy, and it's growing more organically and not with funding. So I think Devin is just one of this 2024 overhyped funding rounds, but they didn't actually had any product market fit before starting.
Now that we have announced what we think about these private beta hyped up projects, Fellou AI agent.
Okay, we should probably not laugh immediately. Maybe it will be the next cursor, but it was so funny because we look at Fellow together with Remy before the pod. And it's funny because they did a fucking browser and they added the same UX as cursor. Like the same UX. You do Command K and you have something pop up on the right and you do the exact same thing. Maybe it will be the top browser in some years, but this felt so lazy.
Fellou AI agent combines deep research, browser use, and workflow automation, currently in beta testing and for advanced applications. So I tried to get into the beta testing. It's not a beta testing, it's a closed beta testing. We're in another, it's like join the Discord and then just wait around. What do you think? Do you think I have time? I want to check out your product to see if I can make more money, if I can do more research, if I can do things faster. I don't know why I know about Fellou AI agent, but it's one of those things I'm probably going to forget it, and someone's going to come up with an idea and just launch a browser that is AI enabled, and Fellou will miss out because they close the doors on people. Don't go too big. Don't fill out just lines and lines of emails of beta testers if the thing is not ready. Make sure it's ready, publish it, and hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I agree. A good product, like you will talk about it to your friends, so it will grow organically. And here it's just hype.
Another AI agent, VY AI agent, a free to try agent that sees screens, understands apps, and performs actions without plugins, gaining traction for its simplicity. I took a look at this one. I don't want to shit on everything that I see. I love a lot of things, but dude, this product just looks so not sexy. The UI looked terrible. It looked cheap, and I don't know if I want to install this on my Mac. That's the feeling that I got. Now, I could be wrong here. They have an example here where you type in. So what happens is that you type into some kind of prompt on your Mac, and it has full control of your Mac. It records the screen, and in Figma you can merge objects. So the mouse will just go and merge things, and then you would have open all my files. So just click on all your files, it would just open them. Just to demo what it was able to do. The thing is like fine, but if you're so intimate on your Mac, it needs to look better than this. The UI just does not look good. It looks third party-ish, and that is an insult. You don't want to be a third party looking OS. You want to look solid. OpenAI looks solid, right? But yeah, so I don't know if you got the chance to look at this one, Emrick. It's like a computer control AI, some computer control agent.
I think there's one thing that is really interesting in that demo, and I'm wondering how much it works. It asks to build an application. And what this product is doing, it's literally starting cursor, and it's starting cursor in agent mode. And it and it asks a cursor in agent mode to do the app. That's amazing. That's a wrapper of a wrapper. The thing is, he's asking, yes, build me an app. And what the thing is doing is actually starting cursor, and it starts in agent mode, and it's written, "I'm letting cursor finish."
It reminds me of companies that have a vertical. They have like 7 layers of management, and then the guy at the top says do something, and then It just goes all the way down. So you have wrapper, wrapper, wrapper. You have like five managers that bring down the message to the guy who's like scrambling to do the job. We will have like five layers of AI agents who will talk to each other in a vertical all the way down, and there's going to be one king at the bottom that's going to do all the shit, and all the others are just waiting for rapper number three.
Because you could theoretically download 10 MacBooks and you just ask this agent to code a lot of startups at the same time. It's just so funny. And I see some things on the demo page. It's like, VI remembers information about you. And the guy literally has to write, please, can you remember that markdown file where I wrote all the information about me? I don't know. That looks a little bit botched, this one. But I don't know. Maybe I will use it in 6 months.
I don't want to sound terrible. I think that everything that we said this week in AI news was terrible. I'm never going to use any of this stuff. We're here to tell you guys the truth. You know, we're here, we're telling you what's happening in AI, and we're just reading just a lot of subpar companies. There was a moment where everything was booming. Every single thing that was coming out, there were like 9 points to talk about, and they were like, OpenAI drops this, Claude drops this, Google drops this. It was, it was crazy weeks, and now we're talking about Fellou.
No, I have to say there is the Google I/O. Like if I need to talk about the company I'm working for, there's the Google I/O soon, and there will be a lot of drops. And because OpenAI is always sucking on Google, there will be, of course, release from OpenAI. So I think next week will be better.
Next week will always be better, and these models will always get stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, just this week is a drop, but I
We
mean,
will
it's
have a
entertaining.
Fellou.
So let's not talk about Fellou in a long time, please.
I'm still laughing from the agent that starts a cursor to recall to call.
You say, I have an agent. And he's like, yeah, yeah. You call the agent, you say, hey, I need an app. And he says, hey, the guy says, I got an agent. I got an agent who does that. Jesus Christ.
I know a guy.
It's never ending. Well, that brings this week's pod to a stop. We will be back next week with some more AI news. Subscribe to our podcast. Listen to our shorts that are being published every day. We're very consistent here on YouTube and on Instagram for the best moments, the most funny parts, the bloopers and everything. We are very active. That said, have a nice week in AI, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody.